Miami!
To mission control, we have liftoff.
Phinhub! Phinhub! We talking Dolphin City! Phinhub, Phinhub! Yeah! It's that Dolphin Show! Phinhub!
Welcome to the Phinhub Show, the one NFL podcast you can't leave off your roster. Now here's your hosts, Joe and Kevin DeHale.
All right. Welcome to another episode of the Phinhub Show, powered by BetUS. Guys, if you haven't already, make sure to check out BetUS for 150% bonus on your first 3 deposits for up to $2,000 using code YouTube150. There's a bunch of props to bet on. Miami Dolphins are facing the Seahawks over there in Seattle. But before you watch that game, make sure to set your bets at BetUS and use code YouTube150 for 150% bonus on your first 3 deposits for up to $2,000. So make sure to go check them out, guys. So Tua goes down with a concussion. We have backup Skylar Thompson, who's supposed to be our Week 3 starter in Seattle against the Seahawks. We signed Tyler Huntley, who is right now not supposed to be competing for that starting role, but we know that's probably not true. That's a bluff on Mike McDaniel. We know that. But for all intents and purposes, it seems that Skylar Thompson is going to be that starter for us going forward. Yet there's still a buzz around the Miami Dolphins community surrounding other quarterbacks, the most notable right now being Bryce Young from the Carolina Panthers. He was just benched after his Week 2 performance, and he's another Alabama quarterback like Tua, smaller than most quarterbacks like Tua, doesn't have a lot of the physical abilities like Tua.
Almost like a carbon copy.
Almost.
Yeah.
He's even smaller, which is crazy. Yet there's still a buzz surrounding him right now, and is that something the Miami Dolphins should be considering right now as an option? Not necessarily. I mean, one could say, hey, a Tua replacement, or maybe the backup of the future for Tua.
So the only way I would like this situation is if the draft capital that we give up is not that much. I mean, I would expect that they would want a lot for someone that they invested so highly into, including trading first round picks to get up to that first pick with the Texans, I believe, right?
Right.
So if it's like a 3rd round pick maybe, and they're like, okay, that's enough, a 4th round pick, which I doubt that's even possible to get a guy like Bryce Young for that little amount. But I only want it is if he's the true backup to Tua. I don't want him. He can compete. If he's better than Tua when he gets here, whatever, so be it. That's how it should be, right?
Right.
Which I don't believe he will be. But yeah, I don't think he's our future. I don't think that would be the reason. I think it's maybe taking a flyer on a highly talented guy that was drafted really high, and maybe you can get something out of him like McDaniel has done with Tua. You know what I'm saying? Tua, before when he was coming in, Tua wasn't really much until he got here and he believed in this guy, and he's like, look, I'm going to build you up into the quarterback that I believe you have the potential to be. So
right.
That's what I think about.
Well, yeah, if you look at the stats here before Mike McDaniel landed with the Miami Dolphins, and now since he's been with Tua the last 2 years with Tua, he definitely unlocked something in him. So that could be something that he does with Bryce Young. Personally, I don't see it. I don't see the need to go after someone like Bryce Young. I think we already have that project in Tua, and I think it's a completed project now with Tua. I think this offseason they tried to add on to what Tua could do by making him, more mobile, and that backfired tremendously. So that part has to be completely deleted from Tua's game. Just go back to being that pocket passer. Don't think about getting out of the pocket. Like, it's all good. Live to see another day. Throw the ball out of bounds. Whatever you got to do, just, even fall while you're taking a sack. Just don't get hit.
Yeah, it's crazy. And it's almost, it's insanity, right? Because what you're doing is essentially going back to Tua's roots, which was extending plays, making himself more of a target and more risk of injury. You know what I'm saying? You're at risk of injury because you're extending plays. People are coming at angles and at a velocity that they normally wouldn't be able to, so leading to bigger hits, right? So now coming into this season, they're saying, okay, we want you to be more mobile. We want you to get back there. So I guess they kind of forgot how Tua was more prone to injury doing that, because I mean, at the end of the day, it's showing Tua's not able to take these hits. I mean, and it's evident. That hit that he took against Damar Hamlin was not even a big hit. I mean, he hit himself pretty much going into him head first, right? So there's definitely something there. I see Tua going down really fast with those injuries, and I think they just need to nip that in the bud. They can't do that anymore.
Yeah, Tua shouldn't be doing any of that.
And talking about Bryce Young again, thinking about it more, I just don't see the appeal of doing that right now. Let's say in the offseason, if they can find a way to get him for cheap, in a trade, I would do it because you have a whole offseason with him. He can learn the offense, all that. But he wouldn't be the answer right now. And the reason why I'm saying that is because, first of all, he doesn't know the offense. And second of all, we've seen how bad he looks in Carolina. He's going to need some time to be coached up, right? So why would it be the answer for something that,
I would agree. If you're going to do
now.
that, maybe in the offseason would be a better time to get something like that done. Now, moving on from Bryce Young, is there anything that the Miami Dolphins can do with the Steelers maybe to take Russell Wilson off their hands?
See, that type of trade, if he's healthy, it seems like it makes more sense to me, right? Because this is a guy that's been around the block. He knows how to play quarterback in this league. He knows what to expect. He's definitely a good placeholder for the time that Tua's out, right? Mm-hmm. Or barring any other injuries in the future, if Tua's out again. He's someone I would be a lot more confident in coming in and stepping up and maybe getting some wins for us that we really need. So I like that trade a lot more rather than a Bryce Young trade because I believe it'll be cheaper. I mean, obviously with as far as compensation to that team. So
yeah, I think out of those two right now, I would also agree Russell Wilson would be the smarter move. Mm-hmm. But I'm still on the side of not making a move here.
Yeah.
If the Dolphins are going to be without Tua for the next 4 games.
Let it be that and just...
Let it be that. Let Tua come back. And, I mean, if Tua goes down at that point, then you're looking at a completely different scenario where I think now the Dolphins are almost going back to maybe not a rebuild, but they're going to have to tear down some pieces, find a new young quarterback or... Actually, this is a Super Bowl contending team. At that point, maybe you do trade for a guy like Matthew Stafford.
Yeah.
And instantly, try to do what they did with the Rams and win a Super Bowl that year. But I don't know. I think
that's only if in my opinion, if you're giving up on Tua, then you go for Matthew Stafford. He's not coming in here to be Tua's backup. Eventually. So
yeah, I would say Bryce Young is a no for me. Russell Wilson, it's interesting, but I think I can do without that too. And then Matthew Stafford is really that last resort. And that'd probably also be an off-season move because even if Tua were to go down a second time, knock on wood, we don't want that shit happening for anybody's sake. That's terrible. But at that point, then you're looking at something completely different for the Miami Dolphins. And
all in all, I think the best approach is to roll out with Skylar Thompson. I believe he's going to be on a very short leash because it's the beginning of the season. We want to win enough games to, I guess, have a good scenario for Tua to come back and to continue that winning culture. You know what I'm saying? Because he has built that in Miami with McDaniel. I don't see McDaniel wanting to move off of Tua. I don't see Tua wanting to retire. Especially, I mean, the easiest way to put it is you can't go out like that, man. You can't go out against the Bills with 3 interceptions and all that. I know you got to think about your family, but as a competitor and as someone that's played football his whole life in Tua, that's not the type of dude he is.
No.
So yeah, roll out with Skyler, short leash. If he absolutely sucks against the Seahawks, I would see Tyler Huntley already starting on Monday Night Football because
I could even see Tyler Huntley starting by half if things get ugly early. So
yeah, and that's if it's a disaster first half. If it's like a whatever first half, I could see Skyler getting the benefit of the doubt, right?
Yeah.
We've seen Skylar Thompson out there. We saw him his rookie year. He was, I don't want to say horrendous, but he wasn't great. I know a lot of people are just, it's kind of like you're you're painting a beautiful picture because he played. The score was pretty nice in that Bills game, but it wasn't because of him. I mean, he threw 2 picks in that game, and it wasn't a great performance. We were hanging around because of the defense and because of our kicker. And, defense even scored on one of those plays. I think they scored a touchdown, got a few strip sacks.
I think it was Zach Sealer, right?
It was Zach Sealer, yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of. I don't know what to expect from this Miami Dolphins team going forward without Tua.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit of a mystery for me. It's gonna be fun. When Tua first went down, I was like, this sucks for watching Dolphins games. Whatever. I love football at the end of the day, and it's going to be interesting to watch
Still
how
gonna be
Mike
fun.
McDaniel. I think it's a true test to what Mike McDaniel could do.
Yeah.
And
That's the fun part.
see how Mike McDaniel adapts to not having his point guard
Yeah.
out there on the field. So maybe look for the run game here a little bit more, lean on that a little bit more. Our defense is going to need to step up heavily. So
Yeah,
it's going to be interesting to see. But, going back to the whole quarterback question, for me right now, I am riding with Skylar Thompson, having Huntley right there waiting for that opportunity, which is probably going to come at some point. I know a lot of fans are excited about what Huntley can do and the possibility of what Huntley can be.
Or at least, in this first game, kind of adding on to what you're saying really fast, at least in this first game, maybe add some plays, like some misdirection that we can get Huntley out there at quarterback and maybe cook up something fun,
Yeah. Actually, the Dolphins did have a crazy year one time. I know a lot of people remember that Wildcat year.
Yeah.
This could be the opportunity for Mike McDaniel to get into his crazy genius, play calling and maybe cook up something weird with Huntley and the running backs, because now you have Jalen Wright who's going to step in. You have Devon Achane. You have so much speed on the outside. There's a lot of things that you can do with this team, and this season has not been a great. It hasn't been a great indication to the team that we could possibly be.
Yeah.
So it's tough to watch this game without Tua, but at the same time, I am excited to see what Mike McDaniel is going to cook up.
And I know we don't have high expectations for what the Dolphins can do right now without Tua. But what I will say is that we have enough talent to get through these 4 games. We should have enough talent.
We should.
And we should have the coaching for it as well. Mike McDaniel is regarded as one of the best coaches right now, best young coaches too. And then we have Anthony Weaver that's considered a good defensive coordinator now. With the talent on defense and the talent we have on offense, I think we can squeeze out some wins. Maybe go 2-2, maybe go 3-1, 4-0 in the perfect scenario. Tua comes back, we're 5-1. That's my optimism speaking, but I don't think that it's out of the picture. Like it's not out of the realm of possibilities. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So if we can do that, I think for one, McDaniel will be extremely motivated, not only because he's a coach, but he gets to show and to shut up anyone that says like, hey, the only way you're successful is if Tua's out there. Because we've seen his record without Tua.
Yeah.
If we can put that up here
Yeah,
again,
there
right?
it is.
So what is it, 1-6? It's not great, So maybe you can shut up some people that have doubts. And I've seen it on X. I've seen it all over the place in comments. I've seen people saying that fire McDaniel. And, I'm a little bit annoyed of this fan base. I'm not going to lie. And maybe I shouldn't be saying this, but it's kind of annoying, man. As soon as you have something good, you want to just piss on it and get rid of it. McDaniel's the best coach we've had since Shula. I don't want to hear anything else. Tua's the best quarterback we've had since Marino.
It's true.
Despite him having these injury concerns, when he's out there on the field, forget about that Bills game. It was the worst game he's played. But when he's out there on that field, he gives us the best opportunity to win, and it's not going to change anytime soon. So we want him out there. We want him to be healthy, and I think McDaniel has a lot to prove, so it'll be fun.
It's going to be fun to watch. And I think even though right now we're kind of down, there's still plenty of reason to be optimistic, and there's still a lot of football to be played this season. So let's see how it plays out for us.
And one thing I will say, I think we need to find a way to have at least 2 out of this group of players on the field at all times on offense. And that's Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Raheem Mostert if he's good to go, Jonnu Smith. I don't want to see Durham Smythe out there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
and Jalen Wright, because those are the most talented guys on offense, and 4 out of those 5 are a home run waiting to happen at any given moment. So get them the ball and try to give them as much space as they can so that they can take it to the house, man. Because we all know, we saw it against the Jaguars as well. All it takes is one play. And I know we don't have Tua. I know we don't have Tua throwing that ball to him, but all it takes is one play with Tyreek Hill getting the ball in his hands, or Jalen Waddle, or Devon Achane, or Raheem Mostert. Or, I mean, we've seen it in the past, Jonnu Smith. So, I mean, plenty of opportunities there.
There's still plenty of talent. There's still plenty. It's just they have to be set up. They have to be put in the right places to succeed. And there's ways to get it done. So let's see if they could do that against Seattle. The Miami Dolphins will be traveling to Seattle this Sunday to play at 4:05. This is the longest flight in the NFL, going from Miami to Seattle. So something to keep in mind before you place your bets, guys. But make sure to check out BetUS and use code YouTube150 for a 150% bonus on your first 3 deposits for up to $2,000. That's BetUS using code YouTube150. But that's going to do it for today, guys. Thank you so much for spending your time with us, and we'll see you guys in the next one.